RotoGrinders invading Blender's space here on a Thursday morning. Typically, Blender right now is teaching you guys how to, the most extreme version, the 17th way to a different angle as far as approaching a slate. Blender, we're going to do those philosophies because we have a 5-gamer that may or may not get downgraded to a 4-gamer shortly. Got to keep our eye on the weather there in Washington. The smoke monster has arrived in Washington.
Is that considered weather, Dean? Is wildfire smoke actually part of weather?
Well, Roth is covering it, so I think so. I think that's a good way to sort of like that. I feel like that sort of answers. I mean, it's not precipitation specifically. It's not like hail or sleet, but I think it's under the umbrella, right? It's in the coaching tree of weather.
Is it something that could be incorporated in like hitting and pitching? Like the more smoky it is, does that cause like issues with the ball?
That's a good question that I was going to look into, and I'm like, I'll just ask Roth. I assume Roth is on top of it.
Maybe fielders can't field really high fly balls to get lost in the haze.
I mean, I suppose I don't know. How do you factor that into your model, though? What would you do with it? How would you
have to get all the? You got to. What you got to do is you got to go out and create a lot of smoke during games and get a sample size.
Well, how do you do that? How would you
with the National Weather Service, you can send out some weather balloons. I don't know.
You got to smoke
some little league games that still play in the smoke. Who cares? I mean, something like that.
Is there anything more nonsense that not necessarily because of smoke, but just like, a hitter pops the ball up and the fielder loses the ball in the sun, or like they get distracted for a second, or they fall, and because they don't touch the ball, it's officially like a hit. Like for your pitcher, like what's more?
I don't mind it if it's my hitter. I mean, what happens if I have the hitter? I mean,
sure. Well, yes. Well, now you're adding
bias. So you got a 50-50 chance. You hate it when it's the pitcher. You love it when you have the hitter. So, I mean, sometimes you have one and sometimes you have the other.
But separate yourself. Put yourself outside of the situation. Be like a neutral party. It's nonsense. It should not. This should not be count. It should not count as like a double.
How much of sports is nonsense? I mean, we get strike 3 calls on pitches that are 3 feet outside. We get phantom foul calls in the NBA. I mean, there's already plenty of nonsense as it is.
Why there's different degrees of nonsense. Too? This is like a 9 or a 10 of nonsense.
I think we should add more nonsense.
Well, the more nonsense, the more variance. So you want to
let's make it that when a pitcher instead of calling an automatic ball, when the count, they don't pitch in time, they have to blindfold themselves on the next pitch. And then if the batter commits a batting violation, right? They have to put a blindfold on for the next pitch.
So I think part of the reason why they made some of the changes they made is they wanted to save time, right? They're saying apparently the game was too long for some people.
Why don't they save time by blindfolding everyone for every pitch?
I was going to say, the process of putting the blindfold on, taking it off.
Leave it on. You gotta.
You keep one in your pocket.
Every other inning
guy that comes out. How does that?
Every other inning, Dean, they play blindfold.
So even the ninth is that's like the pressure. Right? So 1, 3,
it's
5,
the most
7,
entertaining.
9.
You never know. People may not find the ball. People may swing and miss, and the catcher has. How about make it that the catcher's the only one that doesn't have a blindfold?
Why not?
But he has to stay in foul territory.
Hey, here's a fun idea to just shuffle things up. The 9th inning, you get to rearrange your batting order. There's a rule I'm just going to nominate out of nowhere. Blindfolds off. No blindfolds. Just like a new rule for baseball. Since we're making new rules, 9th inning, you get to rearrange your batting order. How about for 1 inning, the pitcher gets to put whatever they want on the ball. But in another inning, the hitting team could hit with aluminum bats. Yes. In another inning, you call power play. You say, this is the power play inning, and all your runs are doubled. Boom. Right. These are all incredible. Or you get 4. You're allowed to get one time that you get 4 outs in an inning. I like all of these to some degree. They're all kind of sort of fun. And I'm all about embracing fun. Hey, we have a 5-game slate. It's starting at 12:35 on the East Coast. Dodgers versus Cincinnati. Hey, I know you've been away for a while. I know you've been back also too. But you went away. You had your wrestling vacation. Your
very perceptive. Vacation. I've been away and I've been back. So you've covered all your bases.
Well, you didn't just come back this morning. You didn't just drop your bags.
No, I came back last week. Yes, but I was away for 2.5 weeks. Yes.
We haven't talked since you've been back, basically.
Right. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's probably a good thing, yeah. we have a ceiling, we have a quota of a number of minutes we can knock out. But have you caught the fever? The Cincinnati Reds fever? Have you been watching? You're not that far from the Reds, right? As far as
no. Should I be going up and watching some games? Should I be?
You should be getting excited about this team. They've had back-to-back walk-offs against the Dodgers. I don't know if you know, but Ellie De La Cruz is now in the majors, the biggest prospect in all of baseball. I know he's just a name on a spreadsheet to you, but this guy hit his first career homer yesterday. Just destroyed the baseball. They had the walk-off with Benson in the ninth inning. Again, the Dodgers.
Does that mean I have to roster the Reds today because they're hot?
Well, you might have to.
Or do I not roster them because they lost? They did well, and now they're going to regress back to the mean.
It depends if they're going to be putting blindfolds on Ellie De La Cruz today or not. I don't know if they're going to implement that rule right away. The tricky part is that they're facing Clayton Kershaw. Clayton Kershaw is the best pitcher on the slate. Now, there was a chance last night when I was doing my research. Yes, I was looking at the slate last night as well, and I woke up this morning to find out that Tyler Glasnow was not pitching, but Glasnow was in the slate. He no longer is on the slate. He's been replaced by Chirinos for Tampa, a significant downgrade. So Clayton Kershaw, the clear best pitcher left on this slate. Merrill Kelly, probably the second best pitcher. He may be gone. If you look at Roth, of course, will be on right around noon. Ross coming on. I think it's Dave Potts, Cheeseisgood, and I want to say TJ Zwarych.
Does Roth have smoke radar?
Well, he's got a smoke guy.
Does he have a smoke alarm? Does he have and it goes beep 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 when there's too much smoke? And I mean, to be fair to Roth, he's got like the exacta of number one. It's not even weather, kind of. It's not precipitation. It's just windy smoke. And then we also got a Nationals home game where sometimes they postpone games even when it's sunny outside.
Yeah. So the beat writer for the Nationals, Chelsea, is that James? Chelsea James. She tweeted out the smoke is here. We were talking to producer Steve as well. He was talking about he was checking the area. Barely, I don't know what the number they used to determine how much smoke is in the area. I'm not familiar with the what is it called? They put a number on it. Like it's like a 300.
Air quality index.
Thank you. Yeah, look at you pretending like you know that term, like you didn't learn it just yesterday.
I learned it probably, I think, 7 minutes ago. I saw it on Twitter. The AQI is too high.
Yeah. There you go. So it's the Nationals who have canceled games for nothing and they just want to sell a bunch of beer. I don't know what kind of beer you're selling on a Thursday afternoon. Against the Diamondbacks, but they are a horrible organization, and I'm sure that they're going to make the wrong decision here. But it seems like there's a good chance they're going to cancel it. Roth officially has it at orange.
Orange, just like the sky, right?
Yeah, you saw those pictures,
hazy, fiery sky.
The pictures from New York yesterday were pretty wild, like apocalyptic or something like that. Yeah.
Is this the end times? Do I need to put more volume down in DFS? Is the world coming to an end?
Well, I don't know.
Do I have to put in as much as I can and try to make as much money in the next couple of weeks before the world ends?
Not financial advice, but I would just think that if it was the end times coming, your first thought probably isn't let's play more DFS.
Who says it wouldn't? I'm a nihilist. Everything's coming to an end. What am I doing? Building a bunker, grabbing supplies? No.
I can see you're not a bunker guy.
I'm not the one that makes the bunker. I'll pay someone to be in their bunker.
You don't have 100 cans of 100 can of baked beans somewhere in a
I don't mind. I'll eat that normally. I'll eat canned food normally. It doesn't matter. I have that anyway.
So according to the Roth, Arizona, Washington, smoke is pretty thick this morning in Washington. I don't think it's cleared to a healthy level of first pitch. Postpone is possible.
They're coming out with lineups now. The Nationals just came out with a lineup, so
yeah.
I don't know if that's. I mean, they'll do that anyway.
I mean, the Yankees had lineups yesterday too, I think, and so did Philadelphia, and so did Detroit. They put lineups out because the managers they're not aware of this great term.
The managers haven't looked out their window.
Some of these managers are just waking up from their nap, right? I'm not really sure, but Yeah, we got an Arizona lineup. I don't see a Washington lineup yet.
According to GoFuse, someone in chat says the sky is clear in DC for what that's worth.
Okay.
I mean, the sky in New York when they canceled it, like you said, was crazy and orange, but I don't know. Maybe they do play.
Nationals did just drop their lineup a minute ago. Like, their game does start, theoretically, in less than 2 hours, and this will be the time when a lineup would be out. They start at 1:05 on the East Coast, and all we can do is just sort of wait for news, and we'll see. But Roth certainly seems concerned. One of their beat writers on Twitter certainly seems concerned. We'll see. Stay tuned, I suppose. And I guess we'll talk about the slate as if it's going to go. But, we possibly will have to adjust. And like I said, we lost Glasnow yesterday or this morning. We may lose Merrill Kelly, who I think is the second best pitcher on this slate now, pretty clearly. If we look at ownership, pulling it up now on DK, Kershaw getting 58%, Merrill Kelly getting 35%. That's the pretty clear and obvious pairing. And then it's guys like Kyle Bradish, Josiah Gray, Bailey Ober, Chirinos, who is on a pitch count. We're giving him 60 pitches here for Tampa. He's cheap and he's just an SB2 and it kind of makes stuff work and you can spend up and just hopefully he gives you like 12 points or something like that. Alex Cobb, great ground ball guy, is in Coors. We do have a Coors slate.
We may not even get those lineups. I mean, the slate locks at 12:35 Eastern. I mean,
3:10 is the game.
I mean, I just say that from an example of like the field tends to shy away when they're not sure what the lineups are going to be. So I think, the two chalk teams on the slate are going to be the Giants and the Dodgers. I think the more and more we don't get a lineup out of San Francisco, the more ownership kind of drips away. I mean, they'll still be owned, but I mean, the Giants could have a multitude of different combinations of what their lineups could be with all their outfielders.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of the quote best projected plays on the slate, like Jock Peterson and Haniger and Lamont Wade. It's a very weak shortstop position. So Brandon Crawford, like some of these guys may not even be in the lineup. I mean, like you don't know with the Giants. So, I mean, the more I lean more towards, if I had to choose, if all things being equal between the Dodgers and the Giants, I lean more towards the Giants the closer and closer to lock that we don't have a lineup.
They have a 6.5 total against Chase Anderson, and Chase Anderson has been practicing in the dark arts or something because his ERA has been spectacular this season and good for him. But, speaking of, we talk about the smoke monster, the regression monster should be coming for Chase Anderson. Chase Anderson, small sample size, right? 26.2 innings this season. He's got a 1.69 ERA, and again, good for him, but the K rate's not good. 11.9% is pretty putrid. We're talking about a guy with a 96.5% strand rate, left on base percentage, which is outrageous. He's throwing the ball in Coors Field, and he's got a 205 BABIP, a 205 batting average on balls in play. That, again, crazy, crazy lucky. Good for him. And even the home and the fly ball, 9.1%, it's a low rating as well. So he's been lucky across the board. All that together, his ERA is a 1.69. His Sierra is 5.4.
Which is an insane spread.
Yes, but it's a small sample, 26 innings. But yeah, it's just he's been crazy, crazy lucky. Is a quick way of just saying that, and good for him for coming back and resurrecting his career. And I'm sure the Colorado Rockies booth is like, man, Chase Anderson is spectacular, and this guy is electric. And
he's not electric with an 11% strikeout rate. It's just like, okay, he does the job and doesn't get into trouble.
Yeah.
Or he gets into trouble and luckily gets out of it.
Well, yeah, 96.5% of the guys that have been on base have gotten out. He's probably getting a bunch of double plays, all sorts of goofy stuff. Stan in chat's asking, what's up, chat? Kindly hit that like button. Give me those stubby thumbs, as Blender would say. Yeah, hit the like button. Do subscribe. Do turn those notifications. You'll get a notification later on today to let you know we're going live later on today. And I think we're going on early because Fanduel has a 6 o'clock start time and DK is a 7 o'clock start time. So I believe we're planning on a 4:30 start. And that's under the assumption that everything is good in Philly today because that game was canceled yesterday, Detroit, Philadelphia. And that's the first game on the Fanduel late slate at 6 o'clock. Stan's asking about the weather in Colorado.
I mean, come on. I mean, When 5 years from now, there'll be volcano cancellations. There'll be whatever the plagues are. There'll be locust cancellations.
What expansion team is there? An expansion team going to Hawaii? Where are the volcano cancellations?
I don't know. There'll be stuff. The plagues are coming, right?
All the
firstborn players die on one day, right?
What? Right. You can't just say that as if like that's a normal thing to say. You say that and you go, right? Well, no, not right. That seems unlikely.
Well, that's a plague. It's the last plague.
Oh, is it?
So you got to incorporate into your model. One of these days, the last plague.
I'm more of a bubonic guy.
Right. You have to see that anyone that's the oldest child, you probably don't want to roster on that day. That's
one of the plagues that the old
slaying of the firstborn. Come on, I did you not know? Come on,
this is not my wheelhouse, man. I don't know. Is that like standard knowledge? Do people know that?
Well, it's standard knowledge if you're Jewish. I mean, that's what I learned in Hebrew.
Well, it's a small set. I mean, that's what.
It's the Bible, Dean. It's the Bible. Come on. We're not talking about it's the Old Testament.
Does everybody in the chat know this? Am I the only one that's not aware of this rule?
10 plagues, right? Yeah. Passover. Come on.
Okay. Again, this is not my wheelhouse. But you missed the Ellie De La Cruz day yesterday. You would have loved it from like an ownership perspective. He was again. I referenced the rookie here for Cincinnati. It looks spectacular. Triple and a homer, not to play results, but and he's just got these wheels for days. Fun to watch run. He's all the way up to 2.9.
Shannon in chat is like he's batting cleanup for 2,900 on DK. No way he's going to only be 14% owned. Clayton Kershaw is the best pitcher on the slate, and he's going to be mega owned, and people aren't going to play Ellie against him. So
you can play both.
Percent is kind of high for a player on a team against the chalkiest pitcher on the slate. So I think he'll be over-owned for that regard. But Dean, of course, you defy conventions, regardless if it's mathematically suitable or not. It's because it's a small slate. I'm going to give you a little bit more permission, a little bit more.
Yeah,
especially if the Washington game gets canceled, and then we get 4 games. Are you perfectly fine with rostering Kershaw as well as Ellie De La Cruz?
Of course. If it comes down to it.
You didn't even bother to pause right there.
I knew what you were asking. I knew you were leading the witness. Right. I knew what you were thinking about. 4 or 5 games slate. And again, I don't really want to go left on left versus Kershaw as like a general rule. But he's super, super cheap. And if nothing else, he's just like a punt and whatever. And he's not going to face Kershaw the entire game.
Who says maybe Kershaw pitches 800 pitches? Maybe it goes forever.
800 seems like a lot. I'll take the under.
That's why he projects so well. I put in that as his pitch count.
I'll take the under at 800 for what it's worth.
Yeah, I would do that. At what
minus? But would you? I know you're kind of having fun with this, but on a 4-game slate, 5-game slate, you're open to it, I imagine. And to put it in your soccer terms, you think all these pitchers are going to get clean sheets? Not necessarily.
No, I agree. That's why I said I give you a little bit more permission. But you also have to realize that Kershaw projects for 6 more points than any other pitcher on the slate. So it's much more likely that I'm playing Kershaw in a lineup than any other pitcher. Now, at 2,900, Ellie De La Cruz, I mean, it could be one of those a slate where no shortstop. I mean, the shortstop position is weak today. So it's quite possible that the highest scoring shortstop is 10 points. And if Ellie De La Cruz gets a 0 even, that you still could win with that. I mean, shortstop may not matter that much.
Oh, he's a switch hitter, De La Cruz. Yeah, I guess I don't think we've seen him hit from the right side just yet. That's why I didn't know it was a switch hitter. But yeah, thank you for pointing that out, Shannon.
Maybe on the right side is awful. Maybe he did so well because he's from one side.
I don't know what his natural side is, to be honest. I'm not aware. But you're right to point out.
I think he prefers to be photographed from the right side.
That's his better son.
That's where his natural beauty is.
Ezekiel Tovar, Brandon Crawford, Willie Adames actually is a really good shortstop pick today versus Bradish. He came back yesterday, banged out a homer. He's still really, really cheap as well. 3.9 on DK is a pretty good price for him. I think he's still 2.9 on FanDuel. He is. Mateo for Baltimore, not exciting there. Wander Franco, sure. Okay, he's expensive, but sure. You can play him against Bailey Ober. Correa and Lewis on the other side. So there are some worthy shortstop options on Washington, whatever. We'll see about that game. But even if it does get played, the likes of Vargas and Abrams and Perdomo don't get you particularly giddy. Do you want to get see if we can get any information in that Washington game? We're probably not going to get it because they are, if not the worst organization in baseball. Oakland, I think, is the worst. So yeah, thankfully Oakland exists, so Washington's not the worst organization in baseball. But they're on the board. They're on the Family Feud board for sure. So hopefully we get some information, but we don't know as far as the game.
That's why they got to turn into crunch time right after this.
Who has to? Washington, the Nationals do?
No. I mean, people that are watching. You'll get updates on what's going on in Washington.
Yeah. Hopefully we will. And Roth will be on to better explain what's going on there weather-wise as well. He'll be on about 35 minutes or so. Well, I mean, he's by default, if one of us is a smoke expert, it is Roth. Unless I don't want to speak for you, but I feel like I like his chances versus you in like a Jeopardy smoke category. He's buzzing in
smoke wind. It's more of a wind smoke combination. It's not just a smoke. It's not like, oh, I'm an expert on smoke, but I don't know where it goes. You have to be an expert on wind and smoke at the same time.
And Mr. Girk says Colorado might be the worst organization. Yeah, Colorado's on the board. The Rockies.
Colorado's uniforms. What happened with that? I saw that on Twitter yesterday. What's going on with that? That's with like the ugliest. Those are the uglier uniforms than like the late 70s Pirates uniforms.
Oh, the late 70s Pirates are pretty sweet.
The yellow ones?
Like those are pretty sweet.
Yeah, those are awful.
You know, the best uniforms, I love when the Cardinals and the Phillies wear like the powder blues, the throwback powder blues. Those are beautiful. You know which ones I'm talking about?
Yeah, and we just got news. The Nationals Diamondbacks game has been postponed.
Okay, there you go. Worst organization in baseball does the right thing.
Okay, so we don't get it over. So Roth has nothing to say.
What about the beer money, though?
We don't care about the wind anymore.
They could have sucked the people out of for some parking and some beer money. You know, they're not going to be able to put sodas in the vending machines in the locker room this month.
We get points for that in DFS?
I don't think you get any points for that now.
Well, I mean, if we got points for like ticket sales and concessions, it's like I'm going to tell you the A's are going to be like the lowest owned team on the slate.
The A's, it's the wildest thing. Like you can count the people in the crowd. Like you can literally just go through.
Who are they? Are they? I mean, what did they not know? I mean, were they coming for something else?
They thought it was the Taylor Swift concert, and like all of a sudden, a baseball game broke out. Yeah, earlier in the year, I don't know if they still have it, but they had a package of like 37 or 38 games. I can't remember what the number was, like somewhere in the 30s. You get a T-shirt as well. I presume it's an Oakland A's T-shirt. I don't know if that makes you more excited or less excited to buy this package, but it was being sold for $99.
And no, but the problem is that, yeah, it's cheap, but it's like, do I really want to go to 38 games? Like, you almost have to pay me more the more tickets you give me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Just terrible. And I went down the Twitter rabbit hole of like they're negotiating right now with Vegas. You know, Vegas is anticipating the A's to come in, but their owner is a billionaire who wants public funding. And a lot of people in Vegas don't want to like help build the stadium because he's a billionaire. And they're going to, gets us free money and whatever. Not worth going down that rabbit hole, but like, that was interesting. And it seems like it's not a sure thing as it was that Oakland's going to Vegas. Somebody's going to Vegas. Maybe like an expansion team.
I just came back from Vegas.
Yeah. Did you see the old Sahara, right? Is that where it was at? I think that's where the land is.
No. They from what I saw that they were going to have a deal where they knocked down the Tropicana on the South Strip and they're going to put the stadium there, which will be disaster for traffic. But
what I'm saying is that it's not a done deal because Oakland is the residents of Vegas, or a lot of people, at least I was watching some of their town hall, or whatever you want to call it. They don't seem to want to foot the bill as much as Oakland wants them to foot the bill. That's going to be a big conversation, publicly funded stadiums and whatever. But it's not a lock, basically.
If they get a stadium, can they publicly fund my DFS play?
I don't think so.
If I move to Las Vegas, will they do that? Can I
don't think they're gonna. Well, in Las Vegas, you can't even play DFS.
That's the scam. They fund me, and I just keep the money.
Yeah. Well, really, we found the one thing you can't do in Las Vegas. You can't play DFS. That's why I was living there for a while, and I was like, this is ridiculous. I got to move.
Was that your version of the self-exclude button?
Yes. Yeah. It was. It's been a while. I jump around, obviously, but. Yeah, that was no fun.
You didn't drive 45 minutes down to Prim on the California border?
I did not. I probably should have. If I'm looking back upon it, but I just didn't. And I may have been advising somebody at the time, like DFS wise. It's a whole other conversation. But we have a slate to get to here. A slate that just lost the game, so we're down to 4. Blender, and the second most popular pitcher is gone. So we are going to get absolutely absurd ownership on Clayton Kershaw. He's 57% on DK, and now we're going to lose the 37% of Merrill Kelly. So you got to roster 25%.
We're also going to lose Josiah Gray. Don't leave him out. He was going to be double-digit owned. He was going to be 10-15% owned.
That's a good point because Gray's at 17-18% as well. So that's 50 percentage points. 25% percentage points of the pool just being thrown away. Keith, by the way, is asking if plate IQ is down or something on my end. Last I saw, it's not down, but they're doing some integration, some modifications. It is down. Wait, no, it's back up. I just hit the refresh button. It looks different. It looks different. I know change is hard, and I was staring at it. I'm trying to, it's just the way it's being presented differently, but the color scheme and all that is still the same. I'm not sure if you're just looking at something different, but TJ and chat talk about it as well. It's not down, just it's just a different presentation. It's I don't like change, Blender, but I'm gonna get used to it. I imagine. No,
so don't give me if I have a whole jar full of dimes, nickels, and quarters.
I don't keep it. Thank you for not giving me your
scared of that. No, you don't give me the change.
We got to get rid of pennies. Can we just get rid of them? Everybody just pull them all together and we divide them up.
Pennies used to be worth something.
They're worth less than what the.
We go back 100 years. If you have a jar of pennies,
they're obsolete though.
Well, now they are.
Keith is saying he cannot get the games to load. I'm not really sure why, but if somebody can drop it, I can't drop links in the chat right now because I'm signed in to my the wrong account on Google. So
whose account are you signed in on?
I have more than one account. I have one for work and one for play.
You have a burner Google account? What's the purpose of that? So do you troll search things?
No, it wasn't intentional.
Do you have an account where you search for like dirty stuff, and then you have an account where you don't? So, but you still want to have your saved search history. So it's not, incognito is not good enough for you. You need to have your own burner Google account.
No, there's nothing nefarious going on here. It's just that I have two. You don't have two separate. I have one that has my work email and one that has the account that I established before work. I think. So I couldn't.
Is there a difference between what you do at work versus what you do? No, you don't. So why you have? Come on.
Look, this is not ideal, but this is the way it is.
This is your proper. So during this show, you're a quote at work. So you have to be under your work Google account.
No, if you really want to get into it, I have to write the expert survey later on today. It's due at 2:00 on the East Coast. Once I finish submitting my lineups today, about 12:35 or so, I have to pivot to the night slate, and I didn't want to sign out and then sign back in because I have to sign back in on my work email. So I'm like, screw it, I'm just going to keep my work one attached because I want to save myself a minute or so as far as signing in and signing out. If that makes any sense. This was actually there was a thought to this, and because I was going to jump out,
consolidate everything. Take a day and consolidate it.
I don't know how to do that. I need a guy.
Learn. You got to learn. Maybe I'll come out with a course, theory of using the internet problem.
All right. Let's get back to the slate here, Blender, and then we're waiting for an update as far as ownership. They're going to go around the horn. They're going to give their favorite plays position by position in about a half hour. You got Dave Potts, Cheeseisgood. You got Kevin Roth, the meteorologist. I don't know why I couldn't think of his job.
What Roth does?
I don't know why.
You know what you should Google that maybe under your work email, and you could find out.
It's the inner. It was really boring, the inner workings, but I could defend why I was doing what I was doing. It didn't make a lot of sense, but there was a method to the madness. And you got TJ hanging out on chat. I assume Spidey's gonna be hanging out as well. So get those likes up so he'll be able to fire up
I
those
need
Spidey
to give
bombs.
out my Venom bomb. I'm sorry. Whenever you mention TJ with his Spidey stuff,
yeah.
I'm gonna go to the bad projections.
Yeah.
Right,
can I guess what the Venom bombs are?
Get on RotoGrinders. And who do you think, Dean, has the highest home run projection on this early slate?
Yeah. Well, it's either a Giant or it's a Dodger.
Are you sure about that?
Let's see. Ooh, hold on a second. Let me reconsider now. It's not. Wait. I think so.
Okay, I'm just making sure. I'm not.
Okay, so you're just trying to trick me up. You're trying to trick me up.
Oh, it has to be the teams with the 2 highest team totals, not necessarily.
I think it's Mookie Betts.
No, Mookie Betts would be, let's see,
4.
1, 2, 3, 4th. Yes.
Chase Anderson's kind of reverse splitsy, but like it still might be. I'm gonna say it's Jock Peterson.
That would be correct.
There you go. All right. So Jock Peterson, we're not even sure who's in the lineup just yet. Like you said, 3:10 is the start time for that game. Hopefully we get lineups. Hopefully not. How are you? And you said you're kind of embracing it. Like obviously people aren't going to ignore the Giants. They're going to be playing the Giants, and
of course. But you may get a little bit more of an ownership discount though, closer and closer to lock that they don't have a lineup out. Of course, you have to be prepared to swap out if the predicted lineup isn't what it ends up being. But I'm more willing to do that. I'm only playing one line. I'm playing the 121. So
I'm in there too, I believe. Yeah. I've hit like some of the 3 entry max stuff, and I'm not sure how many hit lineups I'm going to make. How many times I'm going to cut it off. I might make like 2 or 3 and just split it off, in like 3 different contests. But yeah, I'm not making a ton of lineups either. So you're making just one lineup, and that's it.
Right. Just about. I mean, for a 4-game slate, I'm just making one lineup.
Do you have an approach as far as how goofy you may or may not get?
Goofy? Is that what you would consider it? Goofy?
Yeah.
Well, I'm running lineups. I had to run lineups again because the game got canceled and the ownership changed. So I'm running lineups with the bad projections. As far as stacks are concerned, like as far as let's first start with pitcher. As far as pitcher is concerned, if I go to I ran God knows how many lineups, 300 lineups or so. And I'm getting Clayton Kershaw in 298 of them.
Yeah,
right?
yes. So you like?
I'm also okay. Hold on, I need to exclude Kelly and Gray. Okay, I need to run this again now. I didn't realize Kelly and Gray were still in my player pool. Okay, so I gotta rerun this all. But I'm playing Clayton Kershaw. He projects for 6 points median more than any other pitcher on the slate, and the price point really at this point doesn't matter. Like you could pretty much play anything you want, even with a 10-4 Kershaw in your lineup. Now, obviously, that means that if you want to play the Reds against Kershaw, especially in smaller field contests, you get an insane amount of leverage.
You're on your own island.
If you're going to play a 5-man Red stack and no Clayton Kershaw, feel free to play whoever you want in the rest of your lineup.
Why not play a 3-man Red stack? You don't have to go 5-man. You can.
No,
you can just play 3.
You don't. How about 4? Well, compromise in the middle, Dean. How about 4? Is the 4
you
good?
You can do 3. I'm just saying you don't have to go full 5. You don't have to. You
never
can go 3, and that's different.
Right? Do you never go full 5?
Yes. I know what you're getting with that. I was told I took the theory of DFS, and I thought you're supposed to go full 5. But I guess not.
Well, it's a smaller slate, so the likelihood there's less opportunities for one of the 8 teams to put up, God knows how many runs, right? On a 12-game slate, you have 24 chances of that, so you're much more likely to play 5-man stack over anything else. But there's still plenty of lineups that are 4-3-1s and 3-3-1-1. There are plus EV lineups that look like that, but there are on larger slates there are more 5-man stack lineups that are plus EV than any other combination. But on smaller slates, you get into, maybe the highest scoring team only puts up 5 runs and a 5-man stack isn't needed, right? And also you get into combinatoric problems with like duplication. Like if you're going to play a 5-3 lineup and use almost all the salary, it's quite possible you get duped because there's only so many combinations of that.
You got to roster 25% of these guys. Clayton Kershaw, Bailey Ober, Kyle Bradish, Alex Cobb, Yanni Chirinos, Colin Ray, Graham Ashcraft, and Chase Anderson.
You don't have to, Dean. You could roster someone that's not listed and just get an automatic 0.
This is a good point, yes.
You don't have to.
I guess I shouldn't put a Yeah, they will accept the lineup if you want to put like Julio Urias in there for some reason.
I
recommend that.
Is this the type of slate, Dean? Dean, if you're willing to take possibly a 0 at shortstop or something by a batter against your pitcher, why not just play a 4K relief pitcher and just hope all these pitchers get negative points or something?
I mean, that you're asking for a lot of goofiness. Like Kyle Ray is probably going to get like.
You told me, Dean, to be goofy, so I'm trying to.
You're supposed to embrace it. Like the shorter the slate, as a general rule, I have my general rules, and I'm sure you have yours as well. The goofier I allow myself to be on a 13 or 14 game slate, like I'd never consider doing something like that. Obviously, on a 2-game slate, sure. 3-game slate, maybe 4. I mean, Chirinos can put up 10. Ray can put up 13, 14. I'm not rostering Chase Anderson. I'm not chasing his that wasn't a pun. It just sort of happened. His ERA, which is super goofy, obviously. I don't know who my SB2 is going to be.
King of Smack and Chad has been talking the whole time about Tyler Glasgow. Glasgow is not pitching.
He's not throwing baseballs today. Yeah, we should. We kind of mentioned earlier.
If I'm going to start putting up head-to-heads, if you're going to be playing Glasgow in your lineup, that's fine. Play 9,800 for someone that's not pitching.
He's not going to give you a negative, but he'll get you the 0. He's way too expensive point per dollar.
Right? Maybe he's trying to be goofy.
Right? There's goofy, and then there's like just being outrageous, like you're just being counterproductive.
Well, I think he thought he was pitching, not that he's not pitching, and I'm fine taking a $9,800 0.
Clayton Kershaw. You can't put this number high enough. He's currently projected for 65% ownership on DK. That's for large field. Like single entry, he's going to be close to 100%. 3 entry,
I think in the 121, he'll be like 85%.
I'll take the over. I will slide in your DMs and I'll take the over on that. 85%.
Sliding in my DMs.
LA De La Cruz yesterday was 70% in the 121. 70%.
But he's $2,700 yesterday.
Well, yeah, but like. Okay, so if you're not going to roster Clayton Kershaw, let's go down that path just for funsies. Who you're going to play Bailey Ober against?
Well, that's the best offense. I think that's the main problem is that if you don't play Kershaw, I don't really want to play any of these people. Right? I mean, like I think my SP2 choice is going to be Kyle Bradish,
and that's not because I'm not going to
like it, but I mean, yeah, I mean, based on these projections, I mean, it's Clayton Kershaw, and then. I mean, the difference between Ober, Cobb, Bradish, Rhea, Ashcraft, I mean, there's not that much. There's really not that much difference. Yanni Chirinos at like 70 pitches. Man, I mean, I know it's 5,900, but I mean, I'd rather roster someone that could pitch 80 plus pitches, right? It's quite possible that none of these pitchers pitch 6 innings at all. None of them, even Kershaw. But I think I'm much more likely to roster. I mean, I'm going through some of these lineups. I'm not a big fan of Bailey Ober. You're not a fan
of any of these guys, but like
I'm not a fan of any, right? I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm just looking at this going, if you wanted to play Alex Cobb against the Rockies, even
I'm okay with that.
7,500. I mean, that's not nuts in comparison to some of these other pitchers. I mean, I'd rather play him over Chase Anderson. Well, Chase Anderson at 5,300, he has 11% strikeout rate. I mean, like
the thing with Cobb is like, Coors is a field that's rough for BABIP, and he needs that BABIP in his favor because he has 60% ground ball, 61.1% to be precise. Ground ball pitcher, Colorado, it's not going to be a good lineup, but they are in Coors. But, it could be just the ball being put in play, and the difference between a double play and hitting the hole is 2 feet, 1 feet, a couple inches sometimes, and you never really know how it's going to go. But I think Cobb, as far as like skill, is possibly the second best pitcher right now on the slate. If we throw Merrill Kelly away and Josiah Gray's not pitching anymore either, Don Yeezy saying just leave your pitcher empty. They won't accept it if it's just the pitcher's empty.
2 4K relief pitchers. I just finished my 300 run, with excluding all those people and whatever, and finally I'm getting 100% Clayton Kershaw, and the next pitchers I'm getting like 53% Kyle Bradish and 33% Bailey Ober, and then everyone else is like in single digits. So like,
are you adding variants of any sort, or just just
a straight bat projections, not really much variance at all.
That's why,
right. It's just that they project a little bit better than than everything else. And then from a stack perspective, like if I take a look and I go through, it's like, okay, Giant stacks 108, median, Dodgers 105, Orioles 104, Rockies 103, Twins 101, Brewers 100, Tampa Bay 101. So I mean, I think compared to ownership, maybe Baltimore, assuming that the Giants and the Dodgers are going to be heavily chalk. I mean, the difference between lineups that have a 5-man Orioles stack and a 5-man Dodgers stack are not that dramatic, really.
The ownership's going to condense on Dodgers and Giants, right? Pretty clearly.
Well, that's why I said I think for the Orioles, based on this, you know, I mean that may be the way to go. You attack Colin Rea, I guess.
Colin Rea, yeah. Betts, by the way, looks like the highest projected owned hitter, 37, 38, 39%. Rushman at 32%. Adames at 30. Freeman at 30. Wade at 28. We're not sure he's in the lineup just yet. We're assuming he will crack it. But yeah, Vargas at 27%. JD Martinez at 24%. Just a pile of Dodgers. Yeah. So how are you planning on getting different? And let's see, we have.
I think that's different in the 121. I think that's different enough. I mean, like a lot of these lineups that I'm looking at are like 5-man Baltimore and then 2 Dodgers and a 1 random one-off. You know, something like Willie Castro or Luke Raley or someone like that. Austin Barnes at catcher. I mean, I don't have to get in the 121. I don't have to get nuts. It's 307 people.
No, not at all.
But I mean, I'm assuming that 75% of the lineups in that contest will be either 4 to 5-man Dodgers or Giants stacks. So, like,
yeah,
I'd rather not play those, right? I mean,
no Will Smith today, by the way. Just a personal caddy, Austin Barnes for Kershaw. So Will Smith not in the Dodgers lineup today. So their lineup's hindered to some degree. Trying to see if there's anything else different that we're looking at as far as the lineups. Again, Arizona, Washington canceled if you guys are just joining now due to wildfire smoke. No Buxton in that Minnesota lineup. Of course, he's on the IL. Let's see. Brandon Lau, I think he's hurt too for Tampa, if I'm not mistaken. He's not in the lineup. We don't have Milwaukee, Baltimore, San Fran, or Colorado, unless we got to give a refresh. Do we have Baltimore and Milwaukee lineups? Did I just miss them?
I don't
think
believe so. Let's see.
No,
they're just projected lineups. 2:10 Eastern. I mean, we'll probably. I think we'll get those before lock. I mean, lock's obviously in like about 45 minutes from now. I think they'll come. I mean, I don't expect them to be dramatically different, right?
No, I don't expect. I mean, it's day game after night game. You make it a little bit different as far as catchers, that kind of thing. We Major is asking, what's the overview of pitching on Fanduel? I think it's just like play Kershaw and move on. He's 37% owned over there. Bailey over getting 18%. Bradish at 15%. But, I mean, obviously you can't get all the big bats if you play Kershaw. We do live in the world of a salary cap, and you can't get, Betts and Freeman and Muncy and Jock Peterson or whatever. But you can get, most of them, or at least a good portion of them. I have not made my Fanduel lineup just yet. I've not made my DK lineup yet either. But I'm almost definitely going to be playing Kershaw in my main lineup on Fanduel. I don't know if you're playing over there or not, Blender, if you have thoughts, but
it's a one-pitcher site. I mean, I wouldn't just when you play Kershaw in your lineup, you're probably not playing like chalk 4-4 type of line. I mean, the only reason to not play Kershaw is if you desperately want to play the chalk bats.
Andrew wants to know how I feel about the Rays and the Twins. That game in general, we've kind of talked about it a little bit. 8 total, bad ballpark. Not a great hitting environment. Chirinos starting that game for Tampa probably goes 3-4 innings, maybe, depending on how efficient he is. Maybe he goes 5. He's super efficient. Ober's a fine pitcher, right? He's fine, but do we really want to pick on Tampa? Tampa kind of overachievers, but they've been spectacular this season, obviously. Your general thoughts as far as that game, Minnesota and Tampa?
I mean, lineups with Minnesota and Tampa are showing up around 101. So I still would prefer Baltimore over them, but they're in the. I mean, we have what, 8 teams on the slate? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So like, to me, I mean the rankings as far as just projection is concerned.
Yeah,
is for a 5-man stack. Number 1 is the Giants. Number 2 the Dodgers. Number 3 the Orioles. Number 4 Rockies. Number 5 Twins. Number 6 Brewers. Number 7 Rays. Number 8 Reds. So like,
but what about the tiers too? There's kind of tiers too. Like
I would say the tiers are. I would say tier 1 is the Giants and the Dodgers.
Yes.
No, actually no. Tier 1 is the Giants.
Yeah, you think so? Like clearly,
I'm going by the bat projections. I'm going purely by 5-man stack combinations with everything involved. That from a median standpoint, 5-man Giant stacks are tier 1. Then tier 2 would be Dodgers, Orioles, Rockies. Of course, Dodgers would be 1, Baltimore 2, Colorado 3, but that would be one tier. The next tier would be the Twins, Brewers, and the Rays. And then the next tier would be just the Reds. So like that's how I would tier them if you wanted to. And that's why I'm looking at Baltimore or even Colorado of like, if the Dodgers are going to be like, especially in the 121, probably 3 times as owned as Baltimore or Colorado, and the medians are, are 1 point off, I'll take the lower owned stack.
Jason in chat says the Reds are dead last with Kershaw failing in 6 of his last 8 games. The tool needs to be adjusted. Which what does the tool think of an 8-game sample size?
Way too small.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And somebody was saying earlier, like Kershaw's not the guy he used to be. Like he's not the guy he used to be. Like he used to be the best pitcher of his generation. So, like it's not. He's not like the Miguel Cabrera of pitchers right now. He's still really good. 30%.
And to be fair, for his price point, it's not like he projects for awesome. It's just in comparison to other pitchers on this slate, right?
It's not the craziest idea.
Without Merrill Kelly there, the bat has Kershaw's median at 20.19. The next highest median is Bailey Ober at 12.99. So that's like a 7-point difference in median. Yeah. And Bailey Ober's 8,300. Kershaw's 10.4. There's a $2,100 difference, and I don't even think you need the $2,100 on this slate. You could pretty much play kind of, unless you really want to combine the highest priced. If you want to play the highest priced Dodgers with the highest priced Giants or something like, then you'll probably need the $2,100. But other than that, like, dude, there's bats that are cheap enough as one-offs or as part of stacks that. Pitcher is the most normally distributed position in baseball.
It's the most predictable. Variance. Arms are more predictable than bats.
Right, because there's more events involved with it. So,
correct.
If you don't play Kershaw, you're sacrificing 7 points in median, and you ain't going to make that up in bats. Hopefully, you make that up in leverage, right? So, like if he's mega owned, 80, 70, 80% owned, and he fails, and I don't mean fails means that he gets hit up. Just that he fails by not being like he gets 14 points and you don't need him because other pitchers put up 12.
Yeah. Like he still might lead the slate, by the way, at 14 points for the record.
Right. He's still right. He still might lead the slate. Right. But it becomes something that you don't need necessarily.
Correct.
Right. But when he has a 7-point higher median than anyone, like you're going to have to make that up somewhere.
You're making one lineup in the 121. So this isn't like something you're actually going to apply. But I'm curious if you're MMAing today, 15, 20, 25, 30 lineups you're making. At what point do you make a red stack, at least like a 3-man red stack? I think you're supposed to make a couple.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can make them regardless, even if you only have one lineup.
Yeah, but like you're playing in a single entry 121. I don't think you're.
I think it's better because Kershaw will be even higher owned. Like if you want to go for it, I'd probably prefer it in the 250. I don't even know if they're running it, but. Because the one
are you playing Kershaw or no? I'm saying Kershaw.
No, I'm playing Kershaw because I'm not going to play a Dodgers or Giants stack. So I'm choosing to go that way. But if you are going to play a red stack, I would suggest doing it in a smaller field, top heavy payout structure contest. Now the 121 is a flat payout structure, so it's small but it's flat. So the need when you're right, you're going to win $5,000. But if you play like the 254 max or something like that, or the 555, like those are 20 to 50K to first. It's much more top heavy. And I'd much rather get paid that than $5,000 in the 121. And the ownerships are going to be similar enough. The 121, the ownership will be a little bit more condensed than the 250 or the 555 or 888 or whatever like that, but it'll still be high. So I'd much rather have a shot at that than only make $5,000 when I'm right, when I beat the field by 16 points. Like, it doesn't make as much sense in a flatter payout structure contest.
Jason's asking, any love for Bradish or Chirinos if he punted? This is like my own little pet peeve. This is not picking on anybody, but people always ask like the worst players, any love for? There's got to be another way of phrasing it. Like, are we okay with? Did you like him? Just do you not hate this person enough that you're willing to roster? I understand what you're asking, but it's my own little thing. Like, we don't love Bradish or Chirinos. I imagine
I don't know the guy.
Well, I mean, from a DFS perspective, I'm talking about. But like, are you willing to roster Chirinos or Bradish? I don't love him, but I would consider rostering Chirinos. Yes, I understand what you're saying. I'm just
the only thing about Chirinos, I know he's 5,900, but if you're playing GPPs, like not all these outside of Kershaw, all these, and maybe Chase Anderson, you throw out. All these guys in the middle project between 8 and 12 points. So like in median wise. So to me, they're interchangeable. The only difference between Chirinos and the other people is that Chirinos is unlikely, no matter if he's pitching well, probably doesn't pitch into the 6th inning. I mean, like he's going to be capped. All these other guys could possibly pitch 90, 95 they may not even get there. So like, given the choice between all these like cheaper pitchers, Rhea, Ashcraft, like Ashcraft could pitch 105 pitches on a given day if he's pitching
theoretically,
well. Theoretically,
yeah. I hear the point.
Even if you think Chirinos is a better pitcher, I think all the other guys, because of their pitch count, just have higher ceilings.
Chirinos has not pitched since the 16th in the majors. He's been working.
Yeah, but in the minors, he's been pitching what, like 80 pitches or something.
Did he get the 80 pitches? No, that's what I wanted to see. He went 4 2/3 on the 16th. I did not see his start for AAA Durham, but for some reason we are projecting him kind of low.
We got an Orioles lineup in that is not like our projected one. The Milwaukee one is. So we got Frazier, Rushman, Santander, Hayes. Okay, so that's about the same. Hicks isn't in the lineup. Then we get Henderson, Mountcastle, Urias. Okay, so it's not that much different. So basically,
McCann's in there. Both catchers. They have Rushman DHing, so both catchers are in there.
Right, and then O'Hearn is in for Hicks.
Okay, yeah. Brewers lineup came out as well. I'm not sure if you caught that. That looks exactly the same, I believe, as predicted. Yelich, Adames, Tellez, Contreras, Miller, Singleton, Anderson, Urias, and Double Dong Weimer banged out a couple homers yesterday. He's a big boy.
Language.
Double Dong Weimer?
I thought you said Double Dong Wiener.
No. that's your own thing going on in your head. I don't really know what's going on.
Isn't that a little bit redundant?
Well, I suppose. I don't know, Double Dong, but yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Is that part of your burner Google account search history? Are you looking up Double Dong Wieners?
I mean, I did look at.
Is that your thing? I'm not judging. I
appreciate that. Yeah,
I
did look at Joey. He's a big boy. He's like 6'5".
I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you. We have Roth coming in momentarily, as well as I believe Dave Potts. Dave Potts, Cheeseisgood, and TJ Zwarych, the greatest DFS player in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. That's been confirmed, by the way. We did run it. We ran the numbers, and I believe we officially it's passed. It's passed the smell test. I don't know how many people are in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada playing DFS.
Well, but with the wildfires, they're leaving probably.
No, dude, Canada's a big country, man. Saskatoon's all the way out on the west, I think. Pretty sure.
Hey, you don't even know. You don't even know, indeed.
What am I, a geography major? Well, TJ will come in and confirm or deny, but it's not the entire country under siege for these wildfires. I believe it's the Toronto area, I want to say. I was talking to a friend of mine from Toronto. It's a bit dicey around there, but yeah, I don't think it's a West Coast thing for for Canada. And I guess TJ will come in and confirm or deny. He always wants to correct my geography and how I besmirch Canada. I don't, but he takes it the wrong way. TJ, Saskatchewan. That's out there on that's out west, correct?
Central West, yeah. So it's on the west. If you're cutting it in half, it's on the west side, but it's right in.
That's what I was doing. Yeah. I was cutting it in half, for sure. Just doing some math. So you're good as far as wildfires, right?
Yeah. So like we had the crazy bad smoke that like New York and Washington, etc., is now having like a week ago. There are also wildfires out west, and that happens basically every year now for the last like 10 years. And so we got hit with some smoke, but now it's perfectly clear skies and everything.
Roth, how did your hit go today on the Weather Channel?
Man, Cantori is a madman. Like you give him, like Jim Cantori, you give him a script and you're like, this is what we're going to talk about. And then he's like, F your script. This is what we're going to talk. So I think it went okay. I haven't been able to watch it, but it was just like fully not what I thought it was going to be. I'll tell you that.
You had to adjust on the fly, basically. You had to improvise?
Yeah. Every time.
What kind of curveball did he give you? It was talking sports, I assume, right? Sports and weather?
Yeah, but he just went like right into it. I wanted to talk about how we've had postponements in the past and all this. And he was just like, so hit me with it. What's the AQI in New York? What's it going to take? Is this game going to get in? Jesus. Tone it down, Cantori. But no, I think it went okay.
Blender dropped an AQI earlier in the show. He's not heard that term as of like 3 minutes ago. He just learned what it was, and he tries to pretend like he's like an expert of some sort when it comes to AQI.
Dean, this is my approach to analysis. Also, I show up on shows. I just load up the projections, and then it sounds like I know what I'm talking about. So I did the same thing for the weather on Twitter.
Rob, did they do the right thing in Washington? I guess they did, which is like kind of shocking, right? It appears that the Nationals made the right call.
Yeah, I think that was the right choice. And this is not just a baseball thing, but just a health note. This stuff's really bad to breathe in, especially for kids. So like if you're in one of these areas, try to not go outside, especially with your kids. Like it's really unhealthy to breathe in this wildfire smoke. So yeah, they shouldn't be playing baseball in it, and you shouldn't be hanging out in it. It's not good.
Is it too early to say, by the way, the Philadelphia game later on today? Do we know where that's at? Because that's the tricky one. That's 6:00. Fanduel included in their main slate. We're going to be coming on early. We're planning on coming early, assuming that game is a go. Of course, they canceled it yesterday. Detroit, Philadelphia. Do we know, Roth, as far as the AQI in Philly?
That's good. I don't know yet. I don't know. The issue is that they don't have like a threshold. They don't have if the AQI is above or below this, the game gets postponed. Like that doesn't exist, and it probably should. So like I'm trying to figure out, what are they allowing and what are they not allowing? So I'm kind of learning as we go here because this is new territory.
Dave, I see your tweets. Did you have ice cream already today, or you're just encouraging the audience?
Yeah, I just think it's a good day for it. Like this, I mean, goodness gracious. I woke up so super early so I get like this early content done. I write up with Glass now, right? So then I changed it all Glass. Then I started with it's all about how we can play Arizona to get away from this chalk. And then that's gone. And now I just stopped. I was like, they'll figure it out. So I'm definitely ready for ice cream.
World's smallest violin playing for us in the content world. But yeah, it's super, super annoying. I like how you said, screw it. I'm leaving my Glass Now stuff in there. You didn't delete it. It's like, I wrote this. I want somebody to read it.
What I did, I figured out, Meansy taught me the other day how to put something in italics. So I just I put it in italics and just left it there. I'm like, I'm not going to delete all this and then like go into every other paragraph. I wrote the whole thing, mentioned Glass Now. I'm not going to read you every paragraph of my whole thing at 8 a.m. I got ice cream to eat.
Blender, we got anything else for the boys before you step aside and make way for the FanDuel sponsor crunch time?
Nope, I'm good.
That's Blender. I was Dean. Roth, take it away.
Good stuff as always. Welcome to it. This has been a wild couple of days here. We've got a brand new weather issue with the wildfire smoke. Geez, I'm sorry that it tried to ruin your article.
Of all the people in America and Canada that are bothered by the smoke, I think I'm the one you don't need to apologize to. I'll be fine.
Yeah, this is true. You're not even being impacted by this.
Correct.
Smoke, right? Yeah.
I'm impacted by, oh no, I wrote some words and now they're not relevant. I think I'm okay.
Yeah, well, we're happy to have you. You missed yesterday. I had my first ever smoke bomb call. It was like a Spidey bomb, but for the smoke. It was a little guy named Ellie De La Cruz He delivered. How good is this guy, Cheese? How good is this dude?
What if he and Ohtani get on the same team? What would you do?
I just honestly, the first time I saw him hit the ball, I was just like, oh, that's different. And that's
it's funny, yeah. There's just those few guys. You don't even have to be a scout. You just look at him once, you're like, yeah, okay, he's something.
Yes,
and there's so few guys that really are that clear to just anyone. Like you just look at him and you can tell.
His first hit was like 6 inches above the zone, and it was the hardest hit Cincinnati ball this year. His home run yesterday, where I wasn't watching the game, I think it was first pitch for him, and he hit it, I think 448 or something like that.
Yeah, he absolutely crushed it, and he broke the record that he had just set the day before with the hardest hit ball because he hit that one even harder. And then he had like the fastest triple that's been run all season as well in that same game. The guy is just a stud. I don't want to talk about it all day, but holy smokes, the guy's amazing. Speaking of smokes, we got one game out in Washington. And as Dean mentioned, we've got the Philly game that I'm a little bit worried about. We've got 2 New York games. I think at least the first one looks pretty good. Air quality could degrade a little bit later on tonight. I know that's not even on the slate. But just letting you know, those are the only games left that I'm worried about.
I think the one thing to note, because we have a crunch time later, right now the crunch time is set for an early start because of that Phillies game. But if that game gets canceled, then the whole slate starts back at the normal time. So just, we'll keep you posted, but things are in flux with what happens later based on that Philly game.
Yeah. And then Cheese, kind of walk me through what the game plan is with this slate, because I know we've got a split lock, and I believe it's FanDuel that's locking.
So the early slate is the same.
Okay. All right.
It's the later slate that's a little different. So this slate is now just a 4-gamer on both sites.
Okay. So then we're good here. We can kind of walk through things. TJ, how are you feeling, man? I didn't get to chat with you yet.
Doing well. Ready to dive into this one. I'm playing 50 lineups, got a few, or 50, like 3 lineups, got a few home run bets in. I'm always happy for some day baseball. This may potentially be the last day we have with my foster dog that we're fostering right now. He had a visit yesterday, might be getting adopted. So that's exciting because I'm ready to have one animal less in the house. Yeah, I'm always game for some day baseball. I love it.
Very good. And I did want to give you a thank you on camera and on air for filling in for me a couple days ago when I was like half dead. So I appreciate that, man. Thanks for stepping up.
No problemo. I'm always happy to help.
Thank you. Okay, hey, let's dive into it. Cheese, let's talk about this slate. And if you don't mind, just kind of walk me through the 4 games that remain.
Yeah, so the slate is essentially super mega chalk on both sides with one pitcher, with Clayton Kershaw on one side and then Giants and Dodgers on the other side. And that's like the whole slate. Like, do you want to not play Kershaw with the Giants Dodgers stack and do something that is likely to be worse? Like that's everything that we're dealing with today. I really miss this having Arizona on this slate already. But there is some offense that you can do to get different than Giants Dodgers. On FanDuel, we'll find some reasons maybe not to play Kershaw. It's pretty tough to get away from him on DK, but we'll see what we can do for you.
Okay. I guess with that, we'll just kind of dive into it and we'll talk about the pitchers. Jeffrey says, hey, any problems in Colorado? Any worries about a mid-game delay or, worries for pitchers in general? And as of last check, the answer was no, but I have kind of been caught up in this smoke life over the last couple of hours. So let me stall while I pull up the very latest forecast models there in Denver. And it's not out of the question, but the coverage of storms in the area is like 10%. It's just the chance of one of those ending up over the ballpark is slim, and it would probably be late in the game if it did happen. So I think you stick with it. With that, Cheese, let's talk some pitchers.
Yep. Okay. So Kershaw is like all alone up top, and he's not super expensive. And he's not hard to fit. He's 10-4 on both sides. I guess what I'll say on Kershaw is there's lots of ways that he doesn't really put up a great points per dollar kind of ceiling. in a game where maybe he can give up a couple home runs and only pitch 5 innings. But there's so little upside anywhere else that even if Kershaw gives you kind of a floor game where he's essentially overpriced, you still kind of want him. Like it's just there's so much nothing. Like one of these guys, Bailey Ober or Alec Cobb or Kyle Bradish or something, might get like 30 FanDuel points and 20 DraftKings points, maybe. And that's like the bad Kershaw game, you know? And there's a lot of ways to fit him. So I don't have 100% Kershaw just because it's a 4-game slate and I don't want to just play the chalk lineup 100 times. But I mean, if you're trying to score the most points, play Kershaw.
Yeah. Is that just because you don't want to be bored, or like what could go wrong? Could he totally tank, or is there another guy who has upside?
Well, so what could go wrong is he gives you the straight like floor game of like 15 DK, 25 FanDuel points, and you just get 2 cheaper pitchers who match him, and then you have tons of salary that you're playing around with without giving up any points.
I gotcha.
That's kind of the best case scenario.
Yeah.
For me, Kyle Bradish is the guy that I like, air quotes, like, as a cheap pitcher. He's just like a totally average, kind of okay pitcher, and he's cheap, and he's facing Milwaukee. I'm playing a fair amount of Alex Cobb in cores because that's what this goofy slate is. He can get enough ground balls and a few strikeouts that I think he is fine, even in cores. I like those guys straight up ahead of Bailey Ober. And Bailey Ober is more expensive. So I think I have 0 Ober on FanDuel. I think I have 1 or 2 on DraftKings. And then on the DK side, you're allowed to play a little bit of Yanni Chirinos. He probably only goes, I'm going to say 75-ish pitches, like 5 innings is kind of the ceiling. But he's 5,900 on DK, and it's a bad slate. If I can afford Bradish and Cobb over Chirinos, that's what I'm doing. But that's essentially my pool. Kershaw, obviously. Bradish and Cobb is the main 2 mid-tier, and then a couple Chirinos just for salary.
Okay. TJ, what are you doing here pitcher-wise? Are you like just fully on board the Kershaw train because nothing else to do?
So what I did is I made 50 lineups in a smaller contest, and I lock button Kershaw in them. He's in every single one of them. And then I just mix and matched various SP2s throughout them. And then what I did is I went in a couple higher dollar things or even just larger field stuff with a big prize pool up top. And I faded Kershaw and I 5-man red stack. Just because it's a 4-game slate and anything could happen. What if Ellie De La Cruz and somebody else happens to hit a first inning home run, and then you never know what could be happening here. So I have Kershaw locked in for my like 50 MME lineups, and then I have a couple hand built lineups without Kershaw where I'm kind of loading up on the Reds. I think I would agree Cobb is actually I don't even know if that's agree. I think Cheese said Bradish is his next
Bradish then Cobb, but yeah.
Yeah, but Cobb, I think, is my next favorite. I have a little bit more Ober and Chirinos than I think Cheese does today, but I'm basically I have 5 of Chirinos, Ober, Bradish, Cobb, and Rhea, and I'm just mixing and matching them because it's a 4-game slate.
Okay, easy enough. I do want to talk about the bats, but first, make sure you guys are signing up for the FanDuel Sportsbook if you're in a legal sports betting state. Take advantage of their awesome bonus offer. New customers get the no-sweat first bet up to $2,500. That's $2,500 in bonus bets. Terms and conditions apply. Really good stuff happening there from our sponsor, FanDuel. So if you have not taken advantage of that, make sure you are absolutely doing it. Let's talk about some of these bats. You mentioned Cincinnati. Obviously, I'm on board. They have my new favorite player in the world. What is there a chalk stack? I guess there is. And what else are we doing stack-wise?
Well, there's 2 chalk stacks. It's Dodgers Giants. And there's a lot of ways you can mix and match the 2 of them. And I think we'll see a lot of 4-4. Even with Kershaw, you can 4-4 Dodgers Giants. I don't know that one of those teams as a full stack comes in heavily above the other one, as much as those 2 teams are like light years ahead of every other team on the slate.
Like the right thing to do is Kershaw and that 4-4, but that's also the chalky thing to do.
Right.
So
Yeah. I mean, so many lineups are going to be Kershaw with a stack of either the Dodgers or Giants, if not both.
Yeah.
After those two, personally, I like the Orioles kind of more as a mini stack, but I have plenty of full stacks as well. Same thing on the Brewer side. I mostly just like a couple of mini stacks. I think that the team that just every day, even on a 4-game slate, goes overlooked is Tampa. They're expensive, like with Lowe, Franco, and Arozarena, but I don't know what more they need to do. Like, you should play them on a 4-game slate when they're not even chalk. Like, I think that's the clear next team. So yeah, play some Rays.
Okay, very good. TJ, what are you playing?
Yeah, I agree with the Rays call for tournaments. I really like that. They're kind of my favorite of that tier, of that next tier outside of the Dodgers and San Fran. I like Baltimore, Colorado, and Tampa as the main 3 teams I'm going to next, with Tampa and Milwaukee just kind of being slipped in. But my biggest stand today is I'm going to be underweight on the Giants, and I'm going to be heavily overweight on the Dodgers. So in my 50 lineups, I have 25 Dodger 5-man stacks, whereas San Fran is kind of just comparable to all these other teams on the slate in terms of my exposure. So that's kind of my biggest stand today, is I'm going heavy Dodgers. That's where I'm planting my flag. I think they're going to light up Ashcraft. I think they're going to be the top offense on the slate. And then I'm cooling a little bit on San Fran.
Okay. I guess we'll go position by position, a little around the horn talk here. And TJ, you get to lead us off with a little catcher talk.
Yippee. Starting at catcher.
Congrats, TJ.
Woo-hoo. Thank you so much. 75 likes, and I got the first Spidey bomb for us. So there's 266 people watching. 75 likes. We got the first one. If we can get up to 100 likes, I got a second Spidey bomb for the people. So let's hammer that like button. At catcher today, Austin Barnes is going to be the guy that I'm going to the most. No Will Smith in the lineup, as Barnes usually catches Kershaw. And so I have 30% Barnes today, like I mentioned, just because I'm stacking the heck out of the Dodgers. My second guy is going to be Adley Rutschman, DHing, batting second today. I don't mind Patrick Bailey as long as he's in the lineup. I don't mind Christian Betancourt for Tampa. And like Diaz and Contreras are fine, but it's Barnes is my top choice, followed by Rutschman and Bailey and Betancourt.
Okay. Cheese.
Rutschman. That's it.
That's it.
Everything else, play it in a stack. I love Rutschman. I don't think he'll be as popular as he should be.
Yeah, the Rutsch dog can hit, man. I'm a fan. All right, first base.
Okay, so it gets interesting with the Dodgers in that, assuming you're playing Kershaw, or even if you're not, it's hard to go Betts, Muncy, Freeman, JD Martinez. I think Freeman gets more popular than JD Martinez just because first base is kind of thin. So if you're just playing you have a Dodger stack and you want to be different, I would lean towards not playing Freddie Freeman. But he's like clearly the best play at the position. It's just that I think you can Dodger stack without him and just hope that he just hits a couple singles. They'll be doubles, but whatever. I like Mountcastle and Tellez in that Milwaukee game. I think there's a handful of Reds that I'm playing on their own, even in Kershaw lineups, and Spencer Steer is one of them. And then I guess we should kind of talk about the Twins, since they were like totally off the board against Glasnow. I think they're very much on the board, especially on DK at the pricing against Chirinos. So Kirilloff is in a fair amount of my lineups, mostly just as a one-off, but I do have a couple Minnesota stacks.
Okay. TJ, first base.
Yeah, first base today, Freddie Freeman is going to be my favorite guy. I really like Luke Raley batting cleanup today for Tampa Bay. That's one of my top guys. Kevin Newman is batting leadoff. He's hit lefties really well this year. Yes, it's Clayton Kershaw, but I don't mind taking Newman or even Newman and Dela Cruz up against Kershaw today on a small slate. Rowdy Tellez and Mountcastle are all good for tournaments. Nolan Jones I like as well. We're going to get Lamont Wade chalk. I'm heavily underweight.
Okay. Cheese, just from my own personal knowledge, as I'm a Rays fan, is Glasnow okay? Is there a problem here?
Oh yeah, no, he's fine.
Okay.
It was like he was never really guaranteed to start. They never really know what they're doing if they're going 5-man rotation or 6. And since they have the option to give him an extra day, do it.
All right, that makes me feel better. All right, TJ, second base.
Mookie Betts, top play here by a fairly wide margin for me. Thairo Estrada is probably the other guy people are considering here, but for me, it's Betts. Miguel Vargas is actually my second highest owned guy, followed by Estrada. And then from there, it's just only players and stacks. Some Frazier, some Walls, some Castro, some Polanco.
Okay. Just got this message in the YouTube chat that just says Freddie Freeman was just announced injured. I haven't seen that confirmed anywhere. Have you?
Hopefully that's just someone trying to be funny, but if you're serious, like please post us a link to that because that's obviously tremendously huge if that's real.
Yeah. So links or bust. We don't just go off random words, but please do post a link if you've got that. Okay. Cheese, your thoughts at second.
Yeah, very obviously Mookie Betts. And I think even if you're playing a giant stack and Estrada's great in a giant stack, try to get Mookie Betts in there. Also, like Miguel Vargas, too cheap, mostly on the DK side with him. Jorge Polanco is fine-ish as a guy to just kind of throw in. This position dries up quickly as usual. And I think the Dodgers are far more chalky than we're giving them credit for compared to the Giants, especially here at second base.
Okay. I'm not seeing anything on Freeman, by the way. So
yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, he's fine. So if there's someone who wants to hit the ban button on Bob, I vote pro block Bob. Sorry, Bob. We can't make up shit here. Okay. Third base, Cheese.
Max Muncy. The same thing at second. Like, I think Max Muncy will be like double the ownership of JD Davis. But those are the chalk guys. And I definitely like Muncy better. But I also definitely like Gunnar Henderson, especially on DK. And even on FanDuel, I mean, the $1,000 cheaper is pretty relevant. I think he's a fantastic pivot. You don't have to play him in stacks. I'll just play him on his own. And then there's plenty of cheap stuff. DK moved Ellie De La Cruz to third as well as short, which FanDuel was already on. He's viable against Kershaw. But Davis, Muncy, Gunnar Henderson is the bulk of my pool.
Okay, very good. TJ?
Muncy is going to be in 40% of my lineups today. I am getting to specifically these two Reds players quite a bit today, Newman and De La Cruz. I think that's one of my interesting ways to get a little different. It's a 4-game slate. Yes, I'm pitching a ton of Kershaw, but I like rolling with those guys too. Willie Castro is a guy who is batting leadoff today for Minnesota and almost min price, and so I like him quite a bit. JD Davis, Gunnar Henderson are the two that really fill out my list of priorities.
Very good. Shortstop, TJ.
So De La Cruz is my highest owned shortstop today, even though I have 100% Kershaw in those 50 lineups that I have De La Cruz in. And so De La Cruz and Adames are two of my favorite plays on the entire slate. We are 2 likes away from the first Spidey Bomb. I know people are going to be hitting that right now. And Spidey Bomb number 1 is Willie Adames. For Milwaukee today, going up against Bradish. He's been giving up a little bit more power to righties. And so Adames is Spidey Bomb number 1. Let's get up to 100 likes. Keep smashing that like button. And we got Spidey Bomb number 2. But those two guys are going to be in 60% of my lineups today. You add in Wander Franco and Carlos Correa, and that's basically like 85% of it.
Okay, great. Your thoughts at short here, Cheese?
FanDuel is wide open. Like there's a bunch of multi-position eligible guys. So Estrada, Betts, Gunnar Henderson, and Chris Taylor are all shortstop eligible, along with the guys who are also on DK, like De La Cruz, Adames, Franco, Correa, Brandon Crawford, and Giant stacks. I mean, this is a lot to love. I think it's interesting to maybe play one of those guys like a Betts or an Estrada or a Gunnar Henderson or even Chris Taylor at short instead. But I actually also like the Spidey Bomb. Spidey knows things about things. I like Kyle Bradish a lot, but I also have Adames in lineups against him. He does lean a little bit reverse splits power, and Adames is cheap. So with salary considered on FanDuel, Adames and Gunnar Henderson are my favorite shortstops. And that's kind of that.
Very good. How about outfield? Cheese.
So this is where the Giants probably pick up the chalk. Still waiting on the lineup, but if it's normal, I think we'll see Jock Peterson up top, and then a good kind of random mix of Haniger, Conforto, and Yasser Berdusky type. I like Jock and the Yasman the most, but I do like all those Giants. And then, of course, I love the Dodgers. I love Betts and JD Martinez. You should probably not play all Giants and Dodgers. Have I said that yet? Yeah. But I really want to. Okay. So what I don't want, when I don't play Giants and Dodgers, I don't want to. I like Santander the best. I kind of like the cheaper Dodgers outside of stacks. I think they'll be popular in stacks with like Outman and Peralta. But a guy like Outman, I like playing on his own. Just hope he hits another grand slam. We got the Twins guys again, like Kirilloff and Kepler and Larnach are pretty interesting for savings. Ryan O'Hearn, more just of a DK play. But I think the spend up to be different is very much the Rays. As like a Rosarena and Josh Lowe are going to be, a teeny tiny fraction of the Dodgers and Giants. So I prefer spend up to be different with the Rays.
Okay, very nice. TJ, what do you do in the outfield?
Well, it doesn't look like we're going to get Spidey Bomb number 2 because we actually haven't even hit the 2 more likes we needed to get up to 75 for Spidey Bomb number 1.
We did that on credit. We did it on credit for you folks. Come on now.
I'm going to have to start charging interest here on the like button on Spidey Bombs because people are not obliging. This is free content, people. We got the best meteorologist in sports betting and fantasy sports. We got the best baseball DFS player in all of the entire world. And we got me, who's funny, and I'm also pretty good at this. So hit that damn like button. In the outfield.
And good looking.
Yeah, you left that out.
As a trio, I mean,
these
are some good looking people for free on your screen.
On your screen for free. Speaking of, no, this isn't speaking of this at all, but we'll get this after the slate. I've been eating a lot of ice cream sandwiches lately, Cheese, and I thought you'd approve. Anyways, I'm doing something kind of gross in the outfield because David Peralta is my highest owned player. He's super cheap and he's on the Dodgers, and I don't feel great about it, but I'm just so heavily overweight on the Dodgers today. Then if I'm playing a ton of Kershaw, I need some salary savings, and ex facto, David Peralta getting into a ton of lineups today. JD Martinez and Betts are obviously my next favorite too. I'm heavily underweight on the Giants. Luke Raley, Willie Castro, Anthony Santander, Randy Arozarena. These are the guys that I'm kind of mixing in place of these Giants today. I'm kind of hoping that this probably isn't going to be the case because we still don't have a Giants lineup and the Dodgers are the first game on the slate. So people are probably going to migrate to the Dodgers a bit more than the Giants. But I do hope that that's not the case and the Giants go a little bit more because I am heavily underweight on them.
Okay, very good. I want some home runs. I want some Spidey bombs. We got one. And I want some fondue bombs from the big fondue. Cheese, you want to give us a home run call?
Yeah, I'm just going to not go with any Dodgers because they're all obviously going to hit home runs. I'll go Gunnar Henderson.
Okay.
And Adley Rutschman. We'll just go double Orioles.
Those are like 2 of my favorite players. Big fan.
We are 3 likes away from 100 likes. The people stepped it up. So let's hit that like button, get the 3 more. We're going to trust based on their past that we're going to give them the second shot with a credit and hit those 2 more likes that we need. Spidey Bomb number 2 is for Baltimore. We're sticking with Baltimore and Cheese here, and we're going with Anthony Santander. Spidey Bomb number 2. I also do want to mention that one of my favorite home run bets on the day, I usually don't go Spidey Bombs and Coors, but we'll give a third one just for fun here because I do really like this bet. And Michael Conforto is plus 500 to hit a home run on Caesars. A player of his power hitting caliber in Coors Field should not be that high. And so plus 500, Michael Conforto is a bonus Spidey Bomb number 3.
Very good. Excellent stuff. Guys, we've got about 5 minutes until we hit lock. So let's take a few questions. That's what we do. We walk you through the plays, and then we answer whatever questions you have. I have questions about ice cream sandwiches, but we'll wait on that until after lock. So let's see what Jandot says. A little late for FanDuel Cash. Is it Kershaw? So yes, I think the answer is yes. Definitely. It is very much so. Yes. DK Cash question. TJ, De La Cruz or Crawford? P.S. I already got Newman in.
I like De La Cruz.
Steve O says, I feel like a red stack is going to win all the money. I feel like a red stack is going to win all the money a lot for the rest of the year. But Cheese, you actually prefer a race stack.
Yeah, definitely prefer a race stack.
Yeah.
If a red stack goes off, I'm going to be happy just because like I did the MMEing in the $1 contest, but then in some of the bigger things, I just thought nobody else is going to be doing this. Let's go Reds. And so if that happens, I'm going to be happy. I even made a team that's a 5-man red stack with Kershaw.
Oh, wow. Okay. Bold.
You could pitch 6 innings, strike out 10 guys, and then be out of there. And then De La Cruz, Newman, and crew do what they need to do. So it's 4 games. Gonna do some wild things.
Yeah, makes sense. Michael Zimmerman says, what are your thoughts on using Colorado Bats Cheese as a mini stack?
I really kind of only like them as a full stack because I don't really love any of their individual bat. Like you just need BABIP to go wonky. So mini stack, no. Full stack, sure.
Interesting. All right.
If your mini stack is specifically Blackmon and McMahon, I think it's okay. Like Blackman's obviously not what he was. McMahon has been hitting the ball very well, but Blackmon has a let me see right now, pulling up that new plate IQ, a 27% ground ball rate this year in 168 plate attempts. So he's had the ability to hit it in the air enough that I don't hate the idea of doing a batting first and third McMahon Blackmon mini stack. But I want to make sure I'm targeting those fly ball hitters.
Okay, very good. DKGPP, Willie Castro, TJ, or Wiener for the last outfield spot?
I think it's Castro for me. Weimer double donged yesterday, but I think it's still Castro.
No, all right. Get a few more. Jose says, weather in the game good on all of them. Yeah, I don't, for this slate, I don't really expect to see any more weather issues. So yes, good enough is what I would say. Let's see. Cheese, FanDuel, GPP, Adames, Bailey, or Henderson, Santander?
Henderson, Santander.
TJ, DK Cash, SP2, Ober, or Bradish? Cheese, your SP2 was Bradish.
Yep.
But I feel like, TJ, you might be over on Ober.
Yeah, I would go Ober and Cash over Bradish personally.
So, take your pick. They're both fine plays. DK Cash, Doobie 2, Cheese, Newman, Crawford, or O'Hearn, De La Cruz?
In Cash, I think I'd lean Newman, Crawford.
Okay.
For what it's worth, back to that Cash, like the SP2 question, if you have the salary and you're picking one of the two, I definitely think it's Ober. But I don't mind the idea of you just prioritize that salary savings and spend up elsewhere with Bradish. I'm totally okay. I would even maybe lean a Bradish in Cash if you're using that salary. But if you have the salary there, just play Ober.
Okay. Nathan says, if Washington is canceled, the Yankees and Phillies will cancel too. I disagree because A, the start times are very different. And B, the worst of the smoke has now cleared south of New York. And it's cleared south of Philly, and it's moved into Washington, D.C. And their game was earlier. So as we continue to go through the day, things should get better in New York, slightly better in Philly. Philly's still a question mark to me, but I don't think that postponement makes the other ones a lock to be postponed at all. I don't even think they're related, honestly. If I don't play Mookie Boots and DK Cash, do I auto lose, Cheese?
No.
He's
clearly a great play and the best play at second, but no, you don't auto lose. for that.
All right. Travis Duarte says, what's the wind like in Cincinnati? I don't remember it being standout, but let me check for you real quick. It's very light out to right, between 5 to 10 miles per hour out to right. So decent hitting conditions there. With that, we are coming up on lock. Let me see if we got any more QQs. Hey, make sure you hit that thumbs up for us if you don't mind. Make sure we get the last of the questions here. DK Cash, Cheese, De La Cruz, or Taylor?
Taylor.
Okay. Hey, we're right about at the lock. TJ, what is it? Ice cream sandwiches? You mean like with just like the classic chocolate on each side with the vanilla in the middle?
Yeah, classic ones. And I got the big pack of them at Costco, and they're like the mega ones. They're nice and big, and they are tasty. It's just been like my favorite evening snack after supper, laying in bed, watching a movie, watching some sports, something like that. Grab a little ice cream sandwich to cap off the night. It's fantastic.
Cheese, as our ice cream connoisseur, do you approve of this ice cream choice?
I do. I personally don't like ice cream sandwiches so much. Like, that's not my thing.
Yeah.
But obviously I approve of them. Where possible, I like the cookie ice cream sandwiches, where you got the cookie on both sides.
It's like the cookie dough?
Right. That would be my choice. If you got to, personally, I'm a little too much of a purist to love going ice cream sandwich, but I fully support it. I mean, by all means, like,
I see.
And it is easy, especially if you're going to eat in bed watching TV. Like, that's what the ice cream sandwich is made for.
Yeah. I mean, it does look pretty tasty now that I'm looking at it. The ice cream man came by. I live in a place where like we have an actual ice cream man, and he comes by. It's very fun. The mega sandwich, that's where it's at, TJ.
That's the one I like. This is a Chapman's brand. I think this maybe is just Canadian, but not quite as good. Not quite as good as the Costco.
Yeah, there's a million knockoffs now. You never know like which brand you're getting. You need to get the OG. So I got an ice cream sandwich recently.
I just meant to point out before we run off, like I've seen several comments kind of all over both chats about Plate IQ being changed. Plate IQ was switched this morning to just a different looking format, and it's going to take a little while to get used to looking at it just because we've had it look one way for a long time. One thing I want to point out just to make sure you notice, when you go to the hitting page, there's like not as many stats there as there were, but right up at the top next to the team name, you'll see basic versus advanced. So if you click on advanced, that's where you find like the ground ball, fly ball, hard hit numbers. Those numbers haven't disappeared. They just moved under the advanced tab. So give it a few days to get used to looking at the new format. That's what I'm going to do. Like when we've had Plate IQ for several years, and it's aesthetically a little different now. It's just going to take a little while to get used to, but there's some things I really like about it. Like on the pitching side, you can put current season with last season like right next to each other on the same page, which is pretty nice. I think there's a lot to like about it. Just give it a while to get used to it, because they just switched it like really a couple hours ago. Yeah,
and anytime there's new things, people are like, oh god, bring me back to what it was. And then generally like 5 days later, everyone's like, oh, actually, this is good. Yeah. Okay, very good. That was certainly worth noting. Let me see if there's anything else. No, mostly we're just talking about ice cream sandwiches, so that's good. All right, I think with that we can bounce on out of here. So are we all rendezvousing back later tonight, the three of us?
I believe it's cards with the two of you.
Okay, all right. Well, enjoy your ice cream sandwich while you watch some movies later on tonight, TJ. For Cheese, for TJ, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love it. And we will catch you tomorrow. We will catch you later tonight. You have been crushed.